There's nothing like waking up to the smell of fresh coffee, so today I'm attempting a coffee pot with its own drip filter. Because everything has to fit just right, there are plenty of ways this could go wrong. So can I make the coffee pot of my dreams? I've prepared 3 balls of clay. I'm going to start with 650 grams of clay for the filter. I'm using a clay with a light speckle. It's quite robust, but easy on the hands. This makes it an excellent choice for throwing. So I center the clay, and then I flatten the clay. I push down into the clay, and with my thumb I push into the side of the clay at the same time, so I'm forming a saucer of clay around the base. I've only opened up a few centimeters inside. Now I form the walls by pulling the clay upwards. I smooth the walls with a rib. And now I measure the filter base. This will have to fit into the gallery of my coffee pot. Now for the coffee pot. So I center the larger piece of clay. Although this is a coffee pot, it would make a really great teapot as well. I like the idea of something I can use in more than one way. And now I flatten the clay. I push down into the clay. And now I open out. I compress the base, and now I can form the walls. I'm leaving some extra clay in the rim that I can push down to form the gallery. I shape the gallery and I smooth the edges. I compress and straighten the walls with my rib. And now I measure to make sure that the gallery is the right size for the filter dripper. I trim around the base. And now I'm ready to set aside to dry to leather hard. So now I'm ready to make the spout and the lid. I'll start with the spout, but I'm going to use the same piece of clay to make both of them. So I take the 300 grams of clay and center. I center and then section off the small portion of clay I need to make the spout. The reason for using the same piece of clay is that it can be fiddly centering such small pieces of clay. And then I'm going to push down into the middle, maybe 4 centimeters, just long enough for the spout. And then I bring the walls inwards a little. I want the spout to be a little wider where it meets the pot and narrower towards the spout. I smooth and shape with the sponge. And now I use a pin tool to cut the spout from the clay, so the spout's thrown off the hump. With the rest of the clay, I'll make the lid. The clay is centered so I can flatten the clay. I measure to make sure the lid will fit across the rim. And then I bring up a little of the clay to form a flange. I compress the clay in the lid. and then I trim around the edge and set aside to dry to leather hard. The thrown pieces are leather hard, and now it's time to trim. I'm using the body of the pot as a chuck, and I trim the lid first. I trim to make sure the lid is a perfect fit, and then I smooth with my rib tool. I wire through the base and set it aside. And now I trim the filter dripper. I trim a shallow foot ring on the coffee dripper, so I can also use the filter dripper with a cup. I cut holes in the base of the dripper. And now I make two handles, one for the coffee pot and one for the dripper. I'm using a loop tool to cut handles. I lay the handles over a plastic container. These plastic containers have the right sort of shape I'm after. The handle for the filter is a little smaller. I'll let the handles firm up, and they'll be ready to attach once I've trimmed the coffee pot. So it's time to trim the coffee pot. This is very simple trimming. I trim around the base and then across the base. Then I upend the coffee pot, and it's time to make a hole for the spout. The spout sits very high on the coffee pot. It's a very short spout. This design means that the top of the pot is intact, so the gallery will still fit a lid. If I were to pull a spout out from the rim, the top of the pot would be misshapen. I cut the spout to the right shape for the coffee pot. So I mark where the spout's going to go. And then I scratch both parts. I add slip and then I attach. I carefully blend the insides as well. On the outside, I add a very small coil of clay to blend the spout with the body. And I smooth. I mark out the position. I scratch and score. I add slip. And then I attach the handle. I use a little lug of clay to hold up the handle. And spend a little time on the join. I move on to the dripper. I mark out where the handle's going to sit. I scratch and score both the handle and the dripper body. And then I attach with slip. Once again, I'm using a lug of clay to hold the handle in place. I spend some time on the join, and then I set aside all the pieces to dry and then bisque fire. I'm using a glaze that fires to an oatmeal colour. I start with the dripper and then move on to the lid. And finally, I glaze the coffee pot. I don't have a huge bucket of glaze, so I use a rolling action. I touch up any finger marks and then I clean the base. I load my pieces into the kiln to fire. So let's see if I got the sizing right. My filter dripper holds a 4-cup filter and the pot fits 4 cups. That's around 1 litre. I really like the squared off handles. They're suited for small and large hands. And the fact that my spout doesn't dribble is a definite plus. So I'm happy to be woken from my dreams to the aroma wafting from this coffee pot. If you're more into tea, or you want to make a great coffee cup with its own lid, check out my teacups with tea strainers and lids, and happy potting!